Dangote Refinery is finally coming to the market, which means that institutions or regular individuals can buy shares in Dangote Refinery. I can see so much excitement on the social media platforms when Dangote himself came to announce on 21st of February that he is going to bring Dangote Refinery to the market. So everybody's getting ready to go and buy some. Before you buy some, watch this video first. Hi, my name is Abigail and welcome back to my channel. I worked in investment banking for almost a decade, so I've made it my mission to explain everything investment banking, capital raising, stock shares to people who don't understand the stock market and things that go on there, so they can be confident when they make some steps towards investing and knowing what to do. If you like this kind of vibe, hit the subscribe button and let's dive right into Dangote Refinery coming on the stock exchange. See, Dangote has done it. He has the largest single oil train refinery in the world. This single train oil refinery is bigger than anything in Europe, Middle East, and the Americas. And at this point, ordinary individuals and investors are going to be allowed to have a seat at the table by becoming shareholders. These are some of the facts you need to know. So we expect the IPO, which stands for Initial Public Offering, which is the first time a private company allows normal investors and individuals and companies to invest in the shares of a company, to happen in either June or July 2026 this year. From the information we have so far, the plan is that the company is planning to offer about 5 to 10% of its value, and Dangote's oil refinery capacity is about 650,000 barrels a day. The valuation of the company is going to be between $20 to $25 billion as at the time that it will come to market. So this particular Dangote refinery processes crude oil into petrol, diesel, aviation fuel, kerosene, and petrochemicals. It currently supplies Nigeria's domestic fuel market and exports the surplus internationally. So this IPO is meant to be dual-faced, which means that they would allow institutional investors, which is companies who invest in other companies, to buy some stake, and then they will open up for retail investors, which is you and me, to be able to buy some stake. So when you start thinking about companies who are going to IPO, there are so many questions you need to ask yourself and answer those questions before you dip your money into anything. The first question you need to ask yourself is, what am I buying and who is selling? And why are they selling? So let's be clear here. Dangote, the owner of the refinery, is not selling his stake in the company. He's going to retain 65 to 70% ownership of the company. He's now then going to offer about 5 to 10% of the company to the public, which is people who can just invest in the stock. So this is about raising capital for the company and not an exit. Because for other companies who IPO, sometimes there's an owner of the company who's looking to sell his stake and leave the company. So with that, maybe they have 70% stake of the company and they sell 65% stake, retain 5% and walk away from the company. And the company is run by other people like CEOs, COOs that are appointed to run the company. They still have maybe a minimal stake, but it's mainly considered as an exit because they don't have the majority stake of the company anymore. This is not the case with Dangote Refinery. Dangote will still have majority stake in the company. Let's talk about why this IPO is happening now. There are 4 main reasons why I think this IPO is happening now. 1, funding the expansion. So the refinery is planning to grow from 650,000 barrels a day to 1.4 million barrels a day. And to expand a company like that, it requires some capital injection. This is one of the reasons why Dangote is IPOing a part of this Dangote refinery. 2, democratizing ownership. So Dangote himself has said that he wants this company to be the golden company of the stock exchange, the one that every Nigerian retail investor wants to own. 3, deepening Nigeria's capital market. See, an asset that is about $20 billion worth that is listed on the Nigerian Stock Exchange is a game changer for the stock exchange. It will be the largest listing on the Nigerian Stock Exchange in its history. And the 4th reason is NNPC is in it already. So Nigeria's national oil company already owns 7.25% of this company on behalf of Nigerians. So this public listing is a natural next step in making that ownership truly democratic. So this is what you need to do your homework before you decide to buy some Dangote shares or not. See, whether you love Dangote, whether you're Nigerian, whether you want to support your own, it is an investment and you need to understand how an investment works and how you're expected to make money from that investment. This is how I will go about doing my homework if I want to invest in Dangote's refinery. Number one, the valuation. How much the company is worth is pretty much its valuation. And whenever an IPO starts, they are going to release a document called a prospectus, which pretty much is all you need to know before you invest in this company. So that is where we are going to look at the numbers and how they got to that $20 to $25 billion. One of the most common ways by which those values come up is comparing it to its peers. So you look for another refinery company and do comparisons between this refinery company and that refinery company and other refinery companies, and then be able to compare and see what value you can put on this particular company. Now, what you're trying to determine is this price that they've put on the company fair or is it a premium? And if it is a premium, why is it a premium? And are you comfortable paying a premium for that company? Let's put it in simple terms. When you go to the market to buy, let's say, tomatoes, you look at one and you look at the other, and they would have different brands, for instance, and you are wondering, why is this one more expensive than this particular one? Oh, it's because this one is organic. So I am paying for this organic tomatoes compared to this other one that is inorganic. This is exactly the comparison we are making with Dangote Refinery shares. So it's better to dig into the prospectus to find out what company they are comparing to Dangote shares and see whether this Dangote shares are being priced fairly. Are they being priced at a discount or are they being priced at a premium? When the prospectus drops, I'll probably do another video. If you want me to, please let me know in the comments and I'll drop another video when the IPO opens on what to do. The next thing I'll consider is crude supply. Now, we are all excited about the refinery, but we need to understand how the business operates and how it makes money to be able to know whether it's a good investment or not. A refinery takes crude oil and refines it. So a refinery is useless without crude supply. For Dangote Refinery, securing long-term crude supply has been a challenge here and there. So if I were you, I would watch whether there's a permanent contract of long-term crude supply secured between NNPC and Dangote Refinery before putting my money into Dangote Refinery. If that has not been secured, that is a risk you need to be aware of. The other thing I will consider is how much debts are on the books of Dangote Refinery. As it stands, my research says that they've got $3.65 billion worth of debts on their books. This is not something you can ignore. The company is now projecting that their operating cash flow would be able to meet their debt requirements by the end of 2027. The onus is on you to do your research about these projections and be sure whether the debt will not be a problem for the company in future. Now, Dangote is saying that they are going to try and pay dividends in dollars. This has excited a lot of people. But if you dig deep into that, this will probably require the central bank and Ministry of Finance to approve. That mechanism is untested and there could be a regulatory risk here. The last thing that I will factor in when I'm looking at these Dangote shares is the fact that Dangote himself will maintain 65 to 70% of the company. In any family-controlled company, shareholder protection matters enormously. I would advise that you read the prospectus, especially about the part of governance, very carefully. Look for independent board members and auditor quality to protect yourself. None of these factors I've mentioned mean don't invest. It means open your eyes when you are investing. At least it's better you know about these risks rather than buying it because everyone is excited about it. Now, enough of the Dangote shares. Let's talk about you. What is your investment strategy if you decide to invest in Dangote Refinery shares? These are the types of investors I can see popping up when it comes to Dangote Refinery coming to the market. 1. The Naira hedge seeker. If you are a Nigerian investor worried about the Naira depreciation, this is one of the companies that earns significantly in foreign currency because they export majority of what they produce. And if the promise of paying out dividends in dollars actually materializes, this supports the Naira hedge argument. That opportunity is rare and genuinely valuable. The other type of investor I see is a long-term investor. That investor who believes in Africa's long-term energy demand growth and also Dangote's execution ability. This particular investor will probably hold it for 10 years plus and will see returns over that period. Let's talk about the income investor, the person who's interested in earning their steady dividends every single year in dollars. The dividend yield has not yet been mentioned, so we'll wait for the prospectus to see how that will play out. The last type of investor I can think about will be the portfolio diversifier. Maybe you're an investor who has assets abroad, assets in Nigeria, or assets in other sectors like banks and telecoms. Having an energy stock in your portfolio could help in you diversifying your exposure. If you found this breakdown helpful, let me know in the comments and share with someone who is looking at the Dangote Refinery IPO that's going to be coming later in future this year. It's been Abigail. Catch you later.